Welcome to my channel. This is Dalise, but you may know me as Stamprgrl. I am super excited to say that I am a guest designer for Crafting Kimmy Stamps, and this is the adorable card we'll be making today. I am using the Gear Up stamp set from Crafting Kimmy, and I'm using the BREEZY backgrounds. I'm using that elongated one, and I'm just starting with just a scrap of piece of Bristol paper. I love Bristol to do the technique that I'm going to be doing today, which is using my watercolor markers. And I am stamping with my graphite gray from Crafting Kimmy, and I'm just going to do a mask, and I just fussy cut it with my cute, adorable, cuter cutter bee blue scissors. And I am positioning my mask, and the mask is created from the Post-it tape. I get it at just a big box store, and they are perfect for it. I am using Sparkling Sapphire as my ink for the little space area. So this robot, the idea was that he was just, it's a snapshot of him floating in space. And I'm just using my blending brush to go a little bit heavier, as you can see, on the border around him, and then very, very light. So I'm only adding ink when I'm going to the border of the stencil. And look how cool it looks. It truly, this is the first time that I'm using it, and I know it's going to become one of my favorite stencils. Now, I think the hardest part of this technique is actually pulling the mask without breaking it, because I want to keep it and use it again and again and again. That's the great thing about the making your own mask with this Post-it note material. And now I'm ready to color. I'm using the Ecoline, and the Amsterdam Ecoline is a watercolor ink. Amsterdam is actually an acrylic ink that people mostly use in like filling out your fountain pens. I'm just, look at the amount. Oh my God, the smallest. I don't even press the dropper for this. I touch the glass dropper to my glass mat, and that's the amount that I get. I'm adding some water with my spray bottle. Usually I use my little pipette, but this is what I have, in a tiny round brush. And I am making a wash. As you see how I grab just the tiniest amount, and now I'm making this really light wash. I always test on my hand. That is a thing that I do. Some people like to test and dry their brushes on a towel, paper towel. But my problem with that is that I don't know how much water my paper towel is pulling away. When I do it on my hand, I know exactly how much water is left on my brush. That's why I do it this way. So I am going to add the smallest amount of green, and notice how it spreads out the blue, and it's because there's different different ingredients, so it's a little bit harder to mix these two colors, but I'm gonna cheat them. They're both water based. I'm just have to work a little bit harder to mix these two. If they were the same brand and the same type of coloring medium, then it would be a lot easier, but one is an acrylic ink and the other one is a watercolor ink. I am avoiding the little cheeks because I still haven't decided what color I'm gonna do the cheeks. I was actually planning to do them in pink, but then I said, oh my God, this is looking so cute, kind of in a monochromatic way, even though I have the green and the blue, but it's just very, very cool in terms of the temperature of the colors, and I'm really, really loving it. So you see that color on the top, that teal color is the color that we mixed in. So I'm adding it a little bit down into the rest of the robot so the head doesn't look like it's almost floating. And by the way, if you do notice, I am not sure that I actually do end up coloring the neck of this robot. So we'll see at the end, because I can't remember coloring it. But here I'm bringing a little bit of a darker, then bringing some water. See, I bring tiny bit of dark, and then I look and see if I need to bring some lightness. Then I come with my wash because I know that it's a color that is based on both of the colors that I'm using, but it's just lighter. Here is the super cute, adorable guy, and I decide, what are we gonna add to make him look like he really is floating? And you see me, I was about to start adding like a border around, and I decided, nope, I'm not doing a border with my paintbrush. I'm gonna dry this out. The reason I'm drying it is because I'm getting back to use that mask that we created. If it's wet, you have a high percentage of when you pull it, it's gonna tear your paper. And then I am gonna go to town. So I decided I'm gonna use my stencil as my mask. So I'm putting it back again so I don't get any splatters on the outside of the actual shape of this stencil. And I am just gonna splatter. I'm gonna splatter the darker or the watercolor. I'm gonna splatter with the green, and I'm gonna splatter with the mix of the colors. So depending on the type of splatter that you want, I'm using right now just my finger to tap onto my paintbrush, and this is gonna give me more rounded splatters, which is a great look for this card. I am drying everything around the stencil. I'm trying to pull the stencil up without just dragging any of the drops that I just made. There's a couple of drops that may have gotten a little bit outside the shape, and it's totally fine because that gave me an inspiration. So remember, oops, and there are no errors. They're just creative oopsies. And what I'm gonna do is you'll see me at the end. I'm gonna continue the circles by adding some bling outside and inside of that area. I am bringing my gel pen to add some highlights to this adorable robot, and you'll see me that I'm gonna add. I decide that I want to create a mat for this, so I'm bringing my acrylic neon reflex green, and I actually have a flat brush, and I am gonna paint. And I'm only going to do the border because I cut this to be about a 1/4 inch border around my image. So that's exactly what I'm covering. I'm covering a little bit more than a 1/4 of an inch. So when I dry it out and put my other piece on top of it, you won't be able to tell that this is a white panel. See? Look how cool it is. I love it. But I decide that the border, it's a little too much for the card. It's kind of taking away. So that's when I went to this thinner border. And here is the little addition of the bling. Yes, I do have neon bling in my stash. And I'm kind of running low on the bigger size pieces. So I might need to get a refresh on my bling because everyone needs some neon bling. I use it all the time. It looks amazing. Like you can see when you're using like a lighter color just to bring an extra brightness to the card. Look at him. It's adorable. And I end up adding my little sentiment. I stamp it using granite gray, and it's just perfection. It is just one stamp and you get it, and it's just perfect. So I'm putting everything to. So here is my final card. At the end, I end up adding a little bit of neon thread, and it's just super cute. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like and enjoyed this project, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. And remember, don't leave your crafting for tomorrow. Start today. Bye.